Hello everybody. This lecture is about modeling of mechanical systems. In this lecture, we are going to study about two types of mechanical systems, that is translational mechanical systems and rotational mechanical systems. Translational mechanical systems, they are actually those systems which exhibit linear motion. As you can see in this picture, we have a mass which is attached to a spring and a dashboard. So if you apply a force on this mass, it will always exhibit a to and fro motion in the horizontal way. Similarly, the rotational mechanical systems, they exhibit a rotational motion whenever you apply some kind of force on these systems. As you can see in this picture, we have these pulleys which are actually connected by a belt. So whenever some kind of force is applied on these pulleys, they'll always move in an angular way. So let us study about translational mechanical systems. Translational mechanical systems, as I have already said, they always move along a straight line or they exhibit a linear motion. This system actually consists of three basic type of elements, that is mass, spring and a dashpot. A dashpot is also known as a damper. So if you apply a force on a translational mechanical system, then they'll always be opposed by an opposing force either due to the mass, elasticity of the spring and the friction which is normally produced by the dashpot. Now, we have two kind of forces whenever we study about mechanical systems or translational mechanical systems. The applied force and the opposing force. And since these two forces, they are always in opposite directions, so the algebraic sum of these forces is zero. This is also known as the second condition of equilibrium, and we'll be using this condition to solve translational mechanical systems. Let us first study about what are these elements, that is mass, spring and dashpot. We have the dashpot. A dashpot is actually a mechanical device which produces a damping effect. It resists motion via viscous friction. So the resulting force applied by a dashpot is proportional to the velocity, but it acts in an opposite direction to the applied force. It is used in doors and shock absorbers, and you will find them quite frequently if you look at the elbows on the door closers, and similarly on the suspension of the bridges. This is the symbol to represent a dashpot device. So these are the 2 points which represents the change in velocity whenever you apply a force or external force on this dashpot. So these are some examples of the dashpot devices. Let us say, for example, you have this elbow which you normally find on the doors. And then we have this suspension system, a bridge suspension system, and a flyover suspension, which is normally placed beneath a bridge. Translational mass, this is actually a translational mass. This stores kinetic energy. We normally represent, this is the symbol to represent a translational mass. Then we have a translational spring which stores potential energy. The symbol of the spring is given here, as you can see. And in a spring, the force applied depends upon how you stretch a spring. So the more you stretch a spring, the more opposite force it will apply against the external force. Let us move on to how we can develop equation of motions for the translational mass, spring and dashpot. So we are going to start with the translational mass, and in this section we'll create equation of motions. Now the translational mass, it is actually there is an inertial element. So if you apply a force on a body having a mass m, then it will always be opposed by an opposing force due to the mass. And this opposing force will be proportional to the acceleration of the body. So this is also your Newton's second law of motion. So if we assume that elasticity and friction, they are negligible, then we can say that the initial force is proportional to the acceleration. So this is your translational mass which is placed on a surface, and this is the direction of the applied force or the external force. Now x represents the displacement of this body. So this Fm is your initial force or the opposing force in response to the applied force, and this is proportional to the acceleration. We can replace this proportionality sign with the mass of the body, and we can rewrite this equation as Fm is equals to m into a, and we can also represent acceleration as the double derivative of the displacement with respect to time. We can also say that the applied force is equals to the opposing force. So this is the applied force and this is the opposing force. This is the second condition of equilibrium, which we normally read as the net force acting on the body is zero. See, we can also read that statement as the applied force is equals to the sum of opposing forces or the opposing force. So we can also write this equation as m into double derivative of displacement divided double derivative of displacement with respect to time. So in that way, if we have a body of mass m, then we can represent its equation of motion like this by using Newton's second law of motion. And if we have a translational spring, then we are going to study how we can develop the equation of motion for the spring. We know that a spring stores potential energy. So whenever you apply some kind of force on the spring, it will apply an opposite force in response to that applied force. So assume that you are applying a force on a spring whose spring constant is k. Then due to that spring constant, the applied force will be opposed by an opposing force due to the elasticity of the spring. And this opposing force is proportional to the displacement of the spring x, because the more you deformed the spring, the more will be the opposing force. So suppose you have this spring which is attached to a wall and you are applying a force in this direction. Now this point actually represents the displacement which we have actually marked by x. So the more the displacement in this direction, the more will be the opposing force which will be applied by this spring. So in simple word, we can say that the more you stretch the spring, the more will be the opposing force. So if you apply a force in this direction, so this is the external force or the applied force, the spring will always exert an opposite force in this direction. So now using this definition, we can say that if F is the applied force and X represents the deformation or the displacement, then we can say that the applied force F is proportional to the X. That is, the more the displacement, the more will be the force. Or if we want to replace that with the spring constant, then we can rewrite this equation as f of k is equals to k into x. Now here f of k actually represents the opposing force applied by the spring. So the more will be the displacement, the more will be the force applied by the spring. Or if you take a larger spring constant, then the larger spring constant, then the force applied, opposing force applied by the spring will also be greater. Now here we are saying that we have attached the spring to a wall and taken this position as 0. But if we assume that x1 and x2 are the deformation in the spring position, that is, the spring is attached between this point x2 and this point x1, then how you are going to estimate the equation of motion for the spring? In that case, it will simply be equals to k into x1 minus x2. Here we are assuming that x1 is greater than this x2. So if you want to find the force, then it will be equals to k into x1 minus x2, because x1 minus x2 represents the deformation of the spring or the actual displacement in the spring. So for the dash pot, we normally represent it by a frictional coefficient B. So say for example you have this dashpot device which is attached to a wall and applied force is in this direction. Now here x represents the displacement of the dashpot. So if you apply a force on a dashpot having a frictional coefficient B, then your dashpot will be opposed by an opposing force FB due to the friction of the dashpot. So, and this opposing force will be proportional to the velocity of the body. So the more speedily you will apply this force, the more will be the opposing force. So using this statement, we can say that the opposing force applied by the dashpot is proportional to the velocity of the ball. Or we can replace this proportionality sign with the frictional coefficient B. Now velocity we can represent it by dx by dt, or the rate of change of displacement. Okay, so here we have this displacement x, this point is x actually, and here we have our dashpot which is attached to a wall, considering that this reference point is 0. Assume this dashpot is attached between x2 and x1. In that case, your equation will be changed to b into x1 dash minus x2 dash. Now these two dots, they are just representing the rate of change of x1. So we can also write this equation as x dot or x dash. They both are the same things. Okay, so far we have studied about creating the equations of motion for the dashpot, spring and the mass. Next, we'll actually model the translational systems from these equations of motion or by using other concepts. So we have this example given here, and we need to find out the transfer function and pole zero map of this system. We have this mass which is attached to this wall by this spring. Okay, the applied force, now this is the applied force or the external force, and definitely if the applied force is in this direction, then the displacement will always be in this direction. So the x is representing the displacement of this body. Okay, so whenever you are dealing with translational mechanical systems, the first thing is to draw the free body diagram. How do we draw that free body diagram? It is very simple. First of all, you will just draw the body of mass m here, then you will mark down in which direction it is moving. Now, the displacement of this body is in this direction and the applied force is in this direction. Now, if the applied force is in this direction, then you need to find out what are the forces which are acting against this applied force. Now, here we have two forces that are acting in the opposite direction of this applied force. One is the force applied by the spring, and the second is the initial force of this body, which we are representing by F of m. So this F of k is the force applied by this spring in the opposite direction to this applied force, and this is the initial force of the body. So if the applied force is in this direction, then all the other forces will act in the opposite direction, as you can see here from the signs of these, from the direction of these arrows. So this is the simple free body diagram. Here we are assuming that friction is negligible. So there will be only two forces acting on this body. One is the spring and the other one is the initial force. So this was the free body diagram of our example. Next, we know that from second condition of equilibrium, we can say the applied force is equals to the sum of opposing forces. So if we use this statement, we can write F is equals to F of k plus F of m. So this is the applied force and these two are the opposing forces. So they'll be equals to each other, or they'll cancel out each other. Or in another way, we can say that the net force acting on the body is equals to 0. Next, we need to find out what is this F of k and this F of m. So this F of k is the force applied by the spring and this is the initial force of this mass m. How do we find out this? As we have seen in the previous slides, F of k can be given as k into x simply. Okay, now this k is the spring constant and this x is just representing the deformation of the spring. So if we just go back, our body is moving in this direction. So if we want to find out the force applied by a spring, it will simply be equals to k into x. Okay, so F of k, this F of k will be equals to k into x, and this is the initial force of the body, which we can easily find out by using Newton's second law of motion, that is F of m is equals to m into a. Now here the displacement is x, so we can rewrite this equation as m into d2x upon dt square, or we can also say that it is equals to m into x double dash. They both have the same things. Okay, next we'll simply put the values of F of k and F of m in this equation, and it will be transformed to F is equals to mx double dash plus k into x. So this is for this one and this is for this one. Now we have to find out the transfer function. Okay, for that we'll simply be taking the Laplace transform of this left hand side and the right hand side, and we'll come up with F of s is equals to ms square x of s plus a into x of s. So from this Laplace domain form of the equation of motion of our body, we can find out the transfer function as x of s divided by f of s is equals to 1 divided by ms square plus k. If we assume that m is equals to 1000 kg and k is equals to 2000 newtons per meter, then just by putting these two values into this equation, we'll come up with this final form of transfer function along with the values. Now in the next step, we have to draw the pole zero plot of this transfer function. So the 0 is at 0, but if you find out the pole, then it will have complex poles at 1.41. So on the pole 0 map, we'll simply say that on the S plane, one pole is at 1.41 and the other one is at minus 1.41. So this is the pole 0 plot of the previous example. Okay, so here is another example. Now this is the same example as we have done previously, but there is one additional thing. Your surface is not frictionless, or the friction is not negligible. Apart from this spring and the applied force, you have also the friction due to the surface. So in that case, your free body diagram will be changed a little bit, because you will have an additional opposing force due to the friction from the surface. In that case, your free body diagram will become, now this is the direction of the applied force, so the displacement will be in this direction. Now there will be three type of forces acting on this body in the opposite direction to this applied force. One is the force which is applied by the spring, then the initial force of the body, this is the initial force of the body, and this is the force, opposing force due to the friction. Okay, so how do we find out this? We'll see here. So again, we'll be using the second condition of equilibrium, which says that the applied force F is equals to the sum of all opposing forces. Now here we have three opposing forces. One is this F of K, then F of M, initial force of the body, and F of B, which is the frictional opposing force. Okay, so F of K is simply K into X. Now F of B is M into V, which is the velocity. Okay, as we have seen in the previous slide where we were talking about translational dashpot, so we can represent the frictional force by F of B is equals to M into V, where V can be replaced by dx by dt, that is rate of change of the displacement, which is equals to velocity. And this is not M, this is B actually, sorry. This is actually this is B. So we have this F of K, which is equals to K into X. Then we have the frictional opposing force, which is equals to B into V. B is the frictional coefficient and V is simply dx by dt. Then we have the initial force, which is equals to M into A, or M into d2x by dt square. So simply by putting all these three values into the previous equation, we can simply say F is equals to M into x double dash, here x double dash representing the double derivative of x, and x dot represents the single derivative of x, and this is just dx. So to find out the transfer function, we need to take the Laplace transform of this equation. So after taking Laplace transform, we can rewrite this equation as ms square f of x plus bs into x of s plus k into x of s. So simply by rearranging the quantities, we can find the transfer function as x of s divided by f of s equals to this thing, which is 1 divided by ms square plus bs plus k. So So this is the transfer function. Now the transfer function has been changed a little bit because here we have three opposing forces. One is due to the spring, the other one is the inertial force, and the third one is the frictional force. Okay, so assume that if m is equals to 1000 kg, k is equals to 2000 Newton per meter, and c, this is actually b, this is not c, so you can change it. B is equals to 1000 Newton per meter per second. So after putting these values, we can find out the actual transfer function, which is equals to this quantity. And if you want to draw the pole zero plot, then it is this. This equation will also have an imaginary poles or complex poles. So you can also find out by applying quadratic equation to confirm whether you are getting these two values of poles or not. Here is another example. We have a mass which is attached to this wall by this spring and this dashpot. The applied force is in this direction, so the displacement of this body will also be in this direction. Now this is the same as the previous example. The free body diagram, if you draw the free body diagram, it will be same as the previous example, and the transfer function will also be same. You can solve this to confirm whether you are getting this transfer function or not for this translational mechanical system. So we just quickly looked at this translational mechanical system. Assume that you have this system, okay? So the displacement at this point is represented by u, and the displacement at this point is represented by s. Now there is no external force on this body which is mentioned here. So if you look at this mechanical system, the external force or the applied force is in this direction. However, in this mechanical system, there is no external force or applied force given. So how do you solve this translational mechanical system? What is the free body diagram of this mechanical system? Let us look at this thing. So if we just look at the free body diagram of this mechanical system, then we can draw it like this. We have the applied forces in this, we have the applied force in this direction, then all the other forces will act in the opposite direction, as you can see here. So this is the opposing force due to the spring, then due to the dashpot, and then the initial force of the body. So there are three opposing forces acting on this body. But what about this mechanical system? This mechanical system has actually the same opposing forces, but as you can see here, there is no applied force. Then how do we find out what is the direction of the opposing force? It is find out from the direction of displacement. So if the displacement is towards the right hand side, then it means that all the opposing forces will be acting towards the left hand side, as you can see from the direction of the arrows. So these are the opposing forces, that is the force of the spring, the dashpot force, and the initial force of the body. Now in this case, the equation of motion for this free body diagram is equal equals to this. This is the applied, now for this body the applied force is F, and these are the opposing forces. Now for this translational mechanical system, the applied force is 0 because there is no applied or external force given here, which means that the applied force will be 0. However, we have the opposing forces which are Fk, Fm and Fp. So if you want to find out, so next we need to find out this F of k, F of m and F of p. Very simple. Simply it will be equals to, so the initial force of the body will be equals to m into a, and a is simply equals to the displacement of the body, or double derivative of the displacement of the body with respect to time, and that will be equals to mx double dash. Here double dash just representing the double derivative of x. Now here this body is connected to the spring and the dashpot between these 2 points, that is u and the x. So the equation for this spring and dashpot will be little bit different, because these two elements, that is the spring and the dashpot, they are connected between u and x. So in that case, the opposing force applied by the spring can be represented as k into x minus u. Here we are considering that x is greater than u, so the displacement of this spring can be represented by x minus u. In the same way, okay, so here is another correction. This is not m actually. Sorry. This is B. So this is B. Okay, so this is the opposing force applied by the dashpot, which we are representing by F of P, and it is equals to the frictional coefficient B and the velocity. Okay, and we can also rewrite it as the derivative of the displacement x minus the derivative of the displacement u, or we can also rewrite it as B into x dash minus u dash. So we have the equations for Fm, Fk and Fb will simply put it in the previous equation, and it will be equals to 0 is equals to mx double dash plus b into x dash minus u dash plus k into x minus u. So to find the transfer function, we need to take the Laplace transform of this equation, and it is equals to this thing. So simply by rearranging x of s and u of s, assume that this is the output displacement and this is the input displacement, we can say that the transfer function of this translational mechanical system is x of s divided by u of s is equals to bs plus k divided by ms square plus bs plus k. This was quite simple. Okay, so here we have another example. In this example, we need to find out the transfer function x2 of s divided by f of s of this system. Now let us first see what is x2 of s. So x2 of s is actually related to this displacement x2 of t, and f of s is related to this applied force f of t, which is in this direction. So here we have two displacement points, that is these two bodies m1 and m2, they are connected between x1 of t, this is the one displacement point, and the second displacement point x2 of t, which is here. Okay, and this is okay the first displacement point. Okay, so these two bodies, that is m1 and m2, they are connected by k1 and this dashpot b, and the applied force is in this direction, and body m2 is also connected to this spring k2, which is connected to, let us say for example, this point, which is a stationary point, or it can be a wall as well. So here we we'll have two free body diagram, one for this M1 and the other one for this M2. So the free body diagram depends upon how many bodies you have. If you have 3 bodies, then you will have 3 free body diagrams. If you have 4 bodies, then you will have 4 free body diagrams. Here, since we have only 2 bodies, one is this M1 and the other one is this M2, so we'll have only 2 free body diagrams. Okay, so for M1, that is for this one, the free body diagram will be this. Now, there is no force acting on this M1. This force is acting on M2 only. So we need to be very careful about this, where the applied force is. The applied force is acting on this body M2 only. Okay, M2 is fixed. M1 is fixed. The force is actually on the body M2. So if you want to draw the free body diagram, we need to look at the displacement. Now, displacement is in this direction, so it means that all the opposing forces will be in the opposite direction. So on this M1, we are going to have the opposing force due to this spring K1, due to this dashpot B, and the initial force. So M1 will always be opposed by the force due to the spring K1, then the dashpot, and then the initial force of the body. So we can easily say that applied force, which is 0, is equals to the sum of opposing forces, which are F of K1 plus F of M1 plus F of B. So that was the free body diagram for body M1, and this was the equation of motion for this M1 body. In the same way, we'll make the free body diagram of this M2. Okay, so this is our body M2. Now, this is our applied force, which is in this direction. So all the opposing forces will be in this direction. So on this body M2, we have the opposing force due to this spring K1, then due to this dashpot, and due to this spring K2. And then we are going to have the initial force of the M2 body as well. So the applied force is in this direction. This is the opposing force due to the spring K1, spring K2, due to the dashpot, and then the initial force of the body. So the applied force for body M2, which is F of T, will be equals to the sum of F of K1, F of K2, F of M2, and F of B. So this is the equation of motion for body M2, and this is the equation of motion for body M1. And we need to find out the transfer function x2 of s divided by f of s from these two equations of motion. So let's find out what is f of k1, f of m1, f of b, then f of k1. You need to keep this thing in your mind that the equation for this f of k1 will be different from this f of k1, because this f of k1 opposing force is related to the body m1, and this opposing force f of k1 is related to the body m2. Okay, in the next slide we are going to see what these equations will be. Okay, so let us just discuss body m1. So this is our body m2. As we have already said, the equation of motion for this body is 0 is equals to f of k1 plus f of m1, and then this f of b. So this is our equation 1. F of k1. Now k1, this k1 is actually connected between this displacement point x1 and this displacement point x2. So for m1, we'll consider that x1 is greater than x2. So you have to keep this thing in your mind that m1, this x1 is related, this x1 displacement is related to this body m1. So when we are we'll be dealing with the m1 body, we'll always consider that x1 is greater than x2. So f of k1 will be equals to k1 which is the spring constant, into x1 minus x2. So this is the equation of motion of the opposing force of the spring K1 attached to this body M1. Similarly, in the same way, this is the initial force of the body M1, which is M1 of A is equals to M1 and double derivative of this x1, because this body is connected to this displacement. And for the dash pot, the equation of the force will be B into V. Now, this dashpot is connected between this point x1 and x2, and in the same way as we have used for the spring, we'll be considering that x1 is greater than x2. So the equation for this opposing force due to the dashpot will be B into x1 dash minus x2 dash. Okay, so simply by putting these three equations, that is f of k1, f of m1 and f of b, into this equation 1, we can rewrite this equation as this. Okay, so after applying Laplace transform and after doing some simple transformation, we can rewrite this equation as this. Okay, and from this we can find out x1 of s. That is x1 of s is equals to this quantity, and we are taking this as equation 2. So this is our equation number 2. In the same way, we'll be solving the equation of motion for body M2 as well. Okay, so for body M2, the applied force is equals to the sum of these opposing forces. Now here f of k1, now if we are dealing with body M2, we'll consider that this displacement x2 is greater than this x1. So when we were dealing with this M1, we considered that x1 is greater than x2. Since now we are dealing with M2, so we'll always consider that the displacement of this body x2 is greater than the displacement of this M1. So here the equation for the force applied by this spring between, which is connected between M2 and M1, will be K1 into x2 minus x1. So it is a little bit different than the body M1, because in M1 we were actually doing x1 minus x2. So here the equation for the spring has been changed for this K1 spring. So it is K1 into x2 minus x2. Similarly for this spring K2, now this K2 is actually connected between x2 and this reference point, which we are taking as 0. So if nothing is given here, it means that this reference point is at 0 position. So the opposing force applied by this spring K2 can be found as K2 into x2 minus 0 or K2 into x2. The initial force of this body is m2 into a or m2 into x2 double dash, which is the displacement of this body m2. And then for this dash pot, it will be equals to m2. Okay, so this is not m2 actually, this is b, sorry. So this is actually b. And we have B here as well. Okay, so that's fine actually. Okay, so the force applied by this dashpot on this body M2 is F of B is equals to B into V or B into x2 dash minus x1 dash. So simply by putting all these quantities into this equation, it will be transformed to this thing. Next we'll take the Laplace transform and this equation, and after simply doing some transformation, we can rewrite this equation like this after taking the Laplace transform. So this is our equation number 3. So just by putting equation 2 in equation 3, the transfer function x2 of we can find the transfer function x2 of s upon f of s. So this was our equation number 3. So if you simply put x1 of s here, now x1 of s so this was our x1 of s. So if we simply put x1 of s here, we can easily find out x2 of s upon f of s, which was our transfer function. So the equation for our transfer function is this, and it will be a good practice if you just put equation 2 into equation 3 to verify that whether you are getting this transfer function equation or not. Okay, so this is for your homework. You need to find out the transfer function x2 of s divided by f of s for this translational mechanical system. Okay, this is a frictionless surface, so there is no force acting, frictional forces acting by this surface on these two bodies m1 and m2. Okay, you have to keep this thing in your mind that m2 is equals to 1 kg and m1 is equals to 1 kg. So when you come up with the transfer function, final form of the transfer function, you also have to put the values of m1, m2, b which is this, and k which is this, to come up with the final transfer function along with the numeric values. So here we have an other translational mechanical system, and it is looking little bit complex, and we need to find out the equation of motion for m1 and m2. Okay, so let's just solve this system. In order to solve it, first of all, we need to draw the free body diagrams. Okay, since we have two bodies, so we are going to have two free body diagrams. Okay, the free body diagram of this body is given here. Now here, this is the applied force. Okay, this is the displacement x1, this is displacement x2. Now these two references points, they are 0. m1 is connected between x1 and this point with the spring x1, and m1 and m2, they are connected by this dashpot and k2, and m2 is also connected to this wall by this spring k3. Now if we consider body m1, the applied force on this body is f of t. So the applied force is in this direction, so it means that all the other forces will act in the opposite direction. That is, the force applied by this spring k1 will be in this direction. Similarly, there will be a force, opposing force on this body m1 due to this dashpot, due to this spring k2, and then there will also be a initial force of this body. In that way, similarly for body m2, the free body diagram is given here. Now the displacement is in this direction, there is no external force on body m2, so all the forces will act in the opposite direction to this displacement which are given here. So there will be an opposing force on this body due to this k3 spring, due to this dashpot which is given here, then due to this spring k2 which is given here, and there is also an inertial force of the body m2. Okay, so for body m1, the free body diagram is given here. Okay, the equation of motion will simply be equals to f of t is equals to f of k1 plus f of k2 plus f of m1 plus f of p, and the equation for this k1 is equals to, so k1 is connected between this point x1 and this is our zero reference point. This is also our zero reference point, because the displacements for these two walls are not given, so we'll consider that they are 0 here. So it is equals to f of k1 is equals to k1 x1 minus 0, and it will simply be equals to x1. Since we are dealing with body m1, so we'll always consider that x1 is greater than x2. Similarly, for k2, which is connected between m1 and m2, the equation of motion will be k2 is equals to x1 minus x2, and the initial force is equals to m1 x1 double dash. And for body m1, the opposing force applied by this dash pot will be equals to b into v, or we can rewrite it as b into x1 dash minus x2 dash. So simply by putting these equations, that is f of k1, f of m1, f of b and f of k into this equation, we can rewrite it as this. And after applying Laplace transform, we can convert this equation into this form. Similarly, for body m2, the equation of motion will be this. We have no applied force on this body m2. Okay, so it will simply be equals to the sum of all opposing forces, okay, whose direction will be opposite to the displacement, which is x2. Here x2 will be greater than x1 as we are dealing with body m2. So f of k3 will simply be equals to k3 into x2 minus 0. Now here k3, that is the spring, whose spring constant is k3, it is connected between x2 and this point, which is 0. So the opposing force of this spring will be equals to k3 into x2, and the k2, which is connected between m2 and m1, this spring force will be equals to k2 into x2 minus x1. Similarly, for initial force of this body, we can simply write it as m2 into x2 double dash, and for the dash pot, we can write it as b into x2 dash minus x1 dash. Now we can put these opposing forces values into this equation to come up with this equation, and in the next step we need to apply the Laplace transform, and after applying the Laplace transform, we have gotten this equation, which we are naming as equation number 2. So this is your homework, that using equation 1 and 2, you need to find out what is the transfer function x1 of s upon f of s. So you have this equation number 2 here, and this is your equation 1. So by using these two equations, you need to find out the transfer function x1 of s divided by f of s. So this is the same diagram as the previous one. There are two additional things, that is, this surface is also applying the frictional force B2 and B3. So the B2 is the frictional force on this body, and B3 is the frictional force on this body. So the free body diagrams of these two bodies will be changed, because the opposing force, there will be another opposing force on this body, which is due to this B2 friction and due to this B3 friction. Okay, it is the same as the previous one, although it is little bit different. So you have two bodies, m1 and m2. So you need to keep this thing in your mind, that this m1 body is connected with this spring k. The applied force is f of t. It is also connected to this dashpot device B3. So there will be actually three opposing forces on this m1. Four actually. One due to this spring, one due to this dashpot, and one is this frictional force of the surface. Then there is an inertial force of this body as well. So this is your homework. You need to solve this problem to find out the equation of motion of body m1 and m2, and then you also have to find out the transfer function x2 of s divided by f of. Here is another example which is related to the suspension system of an automobile. Here we have two wheels of a car. Now each wheel is connected to a suspension system which contains a spring and a dashpot, as you can see here. In the next slide, we are going to develop the mathematical model of this suspension system. So here we have a car. We can draw its suspension system which is given here. So this is the body of your car which is connected to the suspension system which contains a spring and a dashpot. So if two springs or if two dashpots they are connected in parallel, then you can replace them with a common element. That is, we are replacing the spring with its equivalent, which is represented by K here, and we are also replacing these two dashpots, that is this one and this one, with its equivalent dashpot which is given here. So the overall suspension system of this car can be represented like this. Here we have a mass which is actually the body of your car. Then here is a spring, a dashpot. So this is the input displacement. This is the output display. This is the input displacement, and this is the output displacement. Normally, the car will be disturbed by the surface, and then based on this disturbance, you will get displacement at this point. Okay, so this is the equation of motion for the suspension system of a car. It is very easy, as you can see here, since in this mechanical system we do not have any applied force. We'll simply use applied force is equals to the sum of all opposing forces. So the opposing force is actually exerted by the body of the car itself, that is the initial force, then the opposing force which will be applied by the spring, and then the dashpot. So this equation actually contains the initial force of the car, then the force applied by the dashpot, and the force applied by the spring. So what you can do after applying Laplace transform, you can find out the transfer function which is given here, and is equals to x naught of s divided by xi of s is equals to bs plus k divided by ms square plus bs plus k. Here is another example where we have to actually make the mathematical model of the train suspension system. Here we have a car body or the train, okay, which is resting on this suspension system. Now the train suspension system, in the train suspension system we have this spring and dashpot which is connected to the train body. It is resting on this metal surface which is connected to the wheels again by this primary suspension system. So this is your primary suspension system and this is your secondary suspension system, and in between these two suspension system we have this metal body holding the train body. Okay, we can draw its equivalent which is given here. So this is your train body, then this is your secondary suspension system, then we have metal body which is connected with the primary suspension system. Okay, so we have to actually make the equations of motion for this train suspension system, and we also have to find out the transfer function. As you can see here, since we have two bodies, so we'll be having two equations of motion, one for this body m2 and the other one for this body m1. So the equations are given here. Your task is to find out whether you are getting the desired equations or not after using the free body diagrams. After that, you simply have to apply the Laplace transform, and by doing some simple transformations, we come up with the transfer function y of s upon u of s, which is equals to, as you can see here. So y of s is the output displacement and u of s is the input displacement. So the transfer function will be y of s upon u of s. Okay, so far we have talked a lot about the translational mechanical systems. Let us discuss a little bit about rotational mechanical systems. As we have said earlier, in translational mechanical systems, the motion of the object is in a straight line, whereas in rotational mechanical systems, the motion is in angular direction. So this is, if this is your rotational spring, then rather than representing its displacement by x, we are using the angle theta, which is representing the change in the angle in circular way. So these are some of the examples of circular spring, as you can see here. And if you want to find out the equation of motion, then whenever you are talking about rotational motion, we always have to deal with torque. So in case of the rotational spring, the required torque will be equals to K, which is the spring constant, and theta 1 minus theta 2. So actually the displacement of this spring depends upon the angle theta 1 and theta 2. Similarly, if we have a rotational damper, then again we'll be using the torque, which is equals to C, which is the frictional coefficient multiplied with theta 1 of dash minus theta 2 of dash. This is representing the derivative of theta 1 and theta 2, the dots. And for a body, we'll be using the torque with moment of inertia. I think so we all know that moment of inertia is the tendency of a body to resist angular motion. Okay, so here we can simply represent it by T is equals to J double derivative of theta.